So we're back with Universe Ticket. This is the second episode, subtitled Revenge, and I guess this has to do with revenge on the people who beat you in the first section of Battle Week, which is the one-on-ones. And they still showed a few more of those one-on-ones, but they didn't show everything. And so a lot of this is kind of being like quickly summarized. And basically, just the only people that really interested me, I would say, is maybe in terms of the one-on-ones. Narumi was very interesting. She looks good. She dances good. Where is she? Over here. So Narumi, she was chosen by Jang Sua, and Jang Sua was just a newbie. She didn't really know what she was doing. She slipped on her first spin, and she was inexperienced. But when Jang Sua was dancing, she was just here for the experience, right? She's just here for fun. She's not really good at anything yet. She's just learning on the job. But Narumi was very interesting. She did a lot of good moves, and I feel like she had a mastery of what she was doing. The only thing I would say is that there were some transitions between her moves that I would say she could work on the gracefulness of it a bit. Look in the mirror more and just work those things out, because sometimes it didn't quite look right. But that was just me. But yeah, other than that, uh, we kind of got to see who the show kind of favored, and one of them is Gabby, who's highlighted already. They didn't even show this girl's opponent. They just kind of showed her. Her voice is deeper than I expected, but her moves are otherwise okay. The only thing I would say is that during her footwork, I feel like she had a stagger, but beyond that, I feel like it's passable, right? And then they showed Angshin as well, which is this person who's, I guess, a minority in China. And her voice is okay, the range is there, but she wasn't quite hitting everything all right. But her moves were okay. Later on, we got to see a matchup between Gayy, Danka, and Jayla. And so, this girl comes up, and the thing is, her personality is so extra. And the thing about when she talks is it doesn't sound sincere. Like, it sounds so kind of like, oh, I'm doing an interview. And she should work on that, because I don't think she means to be insincere, but she comes across that way. And when you're posing all the time and you're like, I'm a model, that's my personality, it's like it kind of comes across kind of like I don't know what the right term is, a little bit shallow or fake. But when you see her dancing and singing, she looks fine. She like, maybe there's a little bit too much posing, but other than that, she doesn't look like she's not doing a good job here. She's doing okay. Now Jayla, on the other hand, her dancing is good. I feel like her voice is good when it's high, but in the low notes, I feel like she's a little bit too Americanized. And they even mentioned that she sounded like kind of like an American, like movie teen or something. And I feel like that's the case. She's got that kind of that Kesha kind of thing going for her. And I don't really like that, to be honest. I don't dig it. I feel like it's kind of ungraceful, and that's kind of a weird thing to put her up against Danka. In that respect, is her name Gayy or Danka? Like, I don't know which one it is, but putting her up against a girl who's like a Disney princess, it kind of like it's not strong for her. But she won anyways. She still won, and so I don't know what that was about, but maybe it had to do with uh, the judges reading into the possible phoniness and over posing. And so I don't know if that got in her brain, but she hopefully she becomes more sincere after this. And then after that, you start to see the girls have kind of like negative reactions to whether or not they won or lost the one-on-ones, and they skipped over like the rest of the people involved. But now we get to see them build up for revenge, which is the second part of the battle week, which is the girls, winners and losers have to battle it out. And so, oh, by the way, I spotted Lee Sun Woo at some point during this competition, who's from Girls Planet 999, and she was actually in my class's top 13 when we were ranking them and stuff, after schoolwork, obviously. But anyways, uh, there's 5 concepts in the revenge battle: sparkling, pure, cute, charismatic, and enchanting. And there are 2 battle songs per concept, so I guess there's going to be 10 teams of like 8 people. Uh, the winners got the right to choose both the concept and the songs. So they got Everyone has 3 days of practice, and those guys have the advantage of choosing the ones that suit them best, as well as the ones that may be more enjoyed by the audience. But anyways, we get to the first pair of teams. Oh, by the way, there's also a mechanic added, which was that. Oh, by the way, did I just skip her? Oh, okay. So there was another mechanic added, which is that 20 will be selected amongst the winners of this revenge battle challenge by the unicorn judges, and they'll go straight through to the top 41. And then the rest have to be voted on. And so there is voting. So we get to see the first pair of green and pinks. Pinks are the outfits they gave to the winners. And the greens, obviously, their confidence levels are not high. I'm rooting for green right now. Because I am green. But in terms of the green, they had a huge language barrier because there's a whole bunch of different languaged people, and the Korean. I feel like they should have selected a leader who spoke English. I feel like that would have made way more sense, and then it would have been maybe a lot better for the whole team overall. And then one member got sick. I'm not sure what she got sick with. Maybe it was like conjunctivitis or some kind of flu, but it was very brief. Apparently, it didn't totally cripple her. But anyways, the green team, they got stuck with Wonder Girls Tell Me, which is not like a bad song to get stuck with. I like that song. And they got to perform it. And honestly, the best people I've ever seen perform this were JYP and Nayeon and Daeun. And I feel like they had the best body motions while they were performing it. But anyways, this is them performing Tell Me, and when it started out, the energy seemed slightly restrained to me, and the moves, they were lacking in polish and synchronization. And this is me coming out of watching Produce 101 as well as Easy Project Season 2. And even though there is kind of like a baseline talent on this show, so they're not so below a point where they're all terrible. There is a baseline talent here, and they're all pretty good, and they sound good sometimes. But I feel like there is a lack of polish in sync, so it goes up from the middle and goes up a little bit, whereas on the other shows, there's a way wider range between people who are really good and polished and people who are really, poor. And even the people who are really poor advanced very highly on Produce 101, for example. But anyways, these guys suffered a little bit because of their language barrier. The leader kind of carried them when it came to vocals. There were a lot of vocal issues. But yeah, basically they just could have used a couple more days for practice, and maybe they could have communicated with a little bit better. I feel like the leader didn't do that bad of a job, but it was just the language barrier that got in the way. And even people trying to sing some of the lines were I feel like they were mumbling or ad-libbing because they couldn't quite do it, or they were missing the beats. And even one of the unicorn judges were saying, yeah, you deserve praise for not giving up, which is kind of like a waste of time to say. And then the next team was the winning team, the pink team. And they got to do twice TT, so I guess they chose that, and then Tell Me fell to the other girls. But what happened with these girls behind the scenes is there was a lot of pulling in different directions with regards to how to practice. But then what happened is Daeun became the leader, and then started to direct the practice. And then Itzy also showed up to give him feedback, which I feel like is another kind of winner's advantage, because I didn't see Itzy talking to the green girls, but they could have used it, I think. And then also after Itzy shows up, that's when you first see Eunyoung have vocal issues, and so they suggest changing her part. But then even the part she got, in the end, she didn't do a very good job of it. I feel like she's upset that she didn't do a good job, but I feel like she was trying to hide that she couldn't do a good job. And I feel like that's underhanded. Like, why are you on the show if you're gonna hide? And this happened a couple of times during these battles. Is that people were trying to hide their lack of ability, and it didn't convince the judges. They could tell they were doing it right. But anyways, let's get to the live performance. And so I feel like it had a good start. It was mostly fine. And Young's vocals were obviously not great, but everyone else's vocals were actually pretty good. I feel like when they were doing the dip, there's like a part of dip where you go during the song. I feel like that could have been done better because I know this dance to the song, and I feel like I always see Twice do it, and they're way better. I would say that Lim Se-wan, she's the one who considered the cute one. I feel like she's coasting a bit on her cuteness because when she was doing the point, I feel like it didn't feel right. And then a couple of other moves did feel right as well. And that's only for me who's like totally in sync with how Twice does it. And so I'm a little bit nitpicky here. But I feel like she is coasting and she could have done better. I'm not going to praise her like other people are, but clearly they kind of want her for the finals because of just like this visual advantage of being like this cute little girl. But then she's just, I feel like she's not meeting the potential that she could meet. Last thing is, I guess, Choi Hyun from Girls Planet found a little redemption here, but after getting praised. But I'm not sure if she's gonna be making it to the end. And then I guess that's it. We don't get to see any more of the revenge battles. I feel like so much of this show ended up being summarized. Because I guess that they're going to choose who they choose at the very beginning. And then you're not going to... Well, most people just don't get highlighted on these shows anyway. So it's kind of too familiar with the Mnet formula for me. And so far... I'm not that keen on the show, but I'm able to watch. There's 7 episodes that are already. 7 episodes are out already, and so I can watch all those all at once. But it's a lot to take in all at once and not really get in on the details and let them sink in over time as well. But anyways, that's the 2nd episode. So I don't know if that's scatterbrained or not. I tried to not summarize the show and get in way too much detail about all the individual performances and just highlight the things that were interesting to me. But I may have lost in the end because I just have notes and I'll just read the notes. But then I didn't really organize how I was going to explain the notes. Or which parts I was going to ignore. Anyways, I don't know why I'm telling you this part. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, I understand. Give it a thumbs down. Let me know why in the comment box down below. And if you're not subscribed, consider subscribing so I can see you in the next video.